What is up, my fellow nerds? Welcome to Tales of Nerdia. Today we're talking about Chapter 357 of Hunter x Hunter. What a chapter. Wow. We're going to discuss the most important parts of the chapter. We're going to break it down. Then we're going to talk about why we should have seen this coming, why we knew Hisoka would live. Also, why is Hisoka after the spider now? I don't really understand the reasoning behind that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then finally, we're going to make some predictions for what's going to happen with the spider and Hisoka going to the Dark Continent, because he's pretty much going to follow them there. We're going to make some predictions on that, even though Togashi is clearly insane. We can't figure out what's going on in this guy's mind, proven by this chapter. Let's go. So I went through such a range of emotions reading this chapter that I kind of wish I did a live reaction for you, even though the last time I tried that, I didn't really like how that turned out. So instead, I've prepared a dramatization, a reenactment of my emotions during Chapter 357. So first, it's pretty much confirmed that Hisoka is dead. Right after that, Machi is stitching him up, and then you see his nen. And then we have Crollo on the phone with Shalnark saying, "We're going to the Dark Continent.
It's about to go down."
And finally, Hisoka's killing spree. Okay, but let's be serious. Let's actually break down the chapter. We start off with a newscaster who is describing the scene, the aftermath of this fight after that big explosion, and she says there's been a number of victims, including Hisoka. And I didn't believe it at first. I said, nah, no way, show me Hisoka. And then, a page or two later, we see Hisoka, and damn, he does not look good. Not good. Machi, Cortopi, and Shalnark are there, and Shalnark explains that we've confirmed that he is dead. And my heart just sank. I was in disbelief. No way could this happen. But I gotta keep reading on. Maybe, Togashi will... Maybe there's something we didn't see yet. Like, no way. Come on, give me that ray of hope. Shalnark also explains what many people predicted, and that is Hisoka used the puppets on the bottom floor, the first floor of the arena, to shield himself. And when the explosion happened, they took the majority of the damage, which is why he's not as bad as he could have been. Granted, he still looks pretty bad, but he's not as bad as he could have been. He actually died from suffocation. All those bodies on top of him, plus all the smoke, dies of suffocation. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But then Machi sticks around because Hisoka paid her ahead of time to heal him, which I believe Hisoka knew. The reason he paid her ahead of time is because he thought of this possibility. This was one possibility in his mind. This could definitely happen. And another reason I believe that is because he prepared this move ahead of time. So we do get to see that in order to revive himself, he stabs his fingers into his chest, grips his heart, commands his nen to wrap itself around his organs, to pump them after death and bring him back to life. We've never seen someone actually give their nen this sort of command to do something after death. We know that nen can be stronger after death because of some strong conviction or revenge, which is why Finks explained that to Gon and Killua. Well, actually, he didn't explain to him, he was thinking it, but before Crollo's nen was exercised, if the Phantom Troop killed Kurapika, it could have made things worse. But this wouldn't be Kurapika's intention, it's just because of the emotion behind that nen. Same thing with Pito, because she wants to protect the king. We don't necessarily see her internal monologue with her commanding, her puppet nen to continue to work, but she has such a desire, such strong emotion to protect the king, that's how it worked out. But in this instance, Hisoka actually commanded his nen to continue to work after death. So I believe that Hisoka had thought of trying this move before, and he paid Machi ahead of time because he knew of the possibility of this happening. He may not have thought 100% this was going to happen, but he thought of that possibility. Now, Machi starts to heal Hisoka, and I believe we see some emotion from her. You know, Shalnark does say she's a bit of a softie, but when she visited him the first time in Heaven's Arena, actually as she's leaving, you see her internal monologue describing how Hisoka doesn't talk about his past because he forgets about people. Like, he'll forget about Castro tomorrow because Castro no longer matters, and he only thinks of himself. But I think she's thinking these things because she's trying to convince herself not to have some sort of feelings towards Hisoka. And I know what you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's shipping them right now, and I have joked about that in the past, but when you look at the panel when she is sewing his neck, and it's just kind of a close-up of her face and her eyes, I do believe that there's some emotion behind that. She does say that, you know, this is a thank you for helping us get the boss's Nen back. She doesn't owe him anything, he is dead. So either she is doing this on her honor, she has some sort of honor code where, well, he paid me, he did help us get the boss's Nen back, so I'll stitch him up. I'll make him look not so bad. Or this could be because she does have some feelings towards him. But right after that scene, when his Nen starts to come back, and his Nen is surrounding him, she's shocked, she pulls away. I'm shocked. I can't believe this. I was pumped when I started to see this. Yes, I knew it. Come back, Hisoka. And then we see the scene of how he did it, which I already explained. And then he just pops up. Yo, what up, Machi? like nothing happened. And he just asks her, like, was I really dead? And she kind of just nonchalantly, like, yep, you were totally dead. And I'm sure as a Phantom Troop member, she has seen some crazy stuff before, but she was just not really thrown off by it after the initial part where his Nen started to come back. But then he just pops up, I'm good. And Hisoka seems to have learned his lesson. You know, he says that, I guess fighting someone as strong as Crollo when you have a ton of other opponents attacking you, not such a good idea. And, you know, Machi scolds him a little bit, like maybe you should pick the place you're going to fight more carefully in the future. She offers to heal him, and this part's a bit strange. I'm not sure what to think of this, but Hisoka basically uses the bungee gum, uses rubber to recreate his nose and his fingers, his foot. So he's using his Nen to recreate those parts, and then uses texture surprise to make them look like his foot, his nose, and his fingers. He also used them to stop the bleeding, which I understand, makes sense. I don't think he actually regrew these parts, or that they'll act just like a foot, hands, and all that. Like, otherwise he could have done this before. He wouldn't need his arms sewn back on. So these can't be as good as a real hand, a real foot. I don't think this is permanent. I think this is temporary. And he does say it appears as if my hand and foot are fine or back to normal, 100%, whatever. But I think appears is the key word there. It looks like they're fine. I'm sure he could still use them, but that would mean he would constantly have to have his Nen activated. Unless this is just some ability that actually hardens and becomes almost like a stem cell, whatever it needs to be. You know, if it's by his hand, it becomes a finger. But I don't really think that's it. I think this is a temporary solution to his problem. So now Machi says, you don't need me anymore. She starts to walk away, and Hisoka says, well, now I'm not going to let my opponents choose who it is they fight, and where they fight, and when they fight. She says, whatever, and then he appears behind her, and shit's about to go down. He whispers to her, I'm talking about the spider. And then he just wraps her up in that bungee gum. She can't even move, and she goes nuts. But, you know, he's saying, you gotta deliver a message for me. I'm coming after the spider. And she just goes ape shit, like, let me go, I'll kill you right now. Damn, we've seen Machi a little mad, but damn, not like this. And just the way that Togashi draws that emotion is fantastic. You know, it's not extremely detailed, but the way that he does his shading and the way that he manipulates their faces just to convey that emotion is fantastic. But here's the first thing that we need to hypothesize about. Why did Hisoka not kill Machi? If he if he says that he's going to kill all the spider, I'm sure there's another way that he can deliver this message that I'm coming after you. Granted, after he said he learned his lesson, it was pretty stupid, I think, to let the spider know he's coming for them, because now they can prepare a little bit. So he didn't learn his lesson completely. He still wants to have a little fun with this. But yeah, he could have killed Machi. I'm sure he could have delivered that message differently. But he lets her live. And I'm not sure why that is right now. I don't think Hisoka has any feelings for her. Go ahead and comment below. Tell me why you think he would let her live. But anyways, let's move on. After this, we have a scene with Crollo. He's leaving the arena, and he's calling Shalnark, and he's telling him that we're going to the Dark Continent. There's plenty of valuables on this ship. Now, because the Kakin family is accepting passengers, it seems like that's how they're going to get on the boat, not as bodyguards or with any other intention. It's just they're going to go on as just normal people, passengers. The other important part of this discussion is that Crollo talks to Shalnark about, hey, you know, I lost your needles, but I can give you your phone back when we get on the ship. Shalnark, no problem, I don't need it right now. So what this tells us is that the phone and the needles are actually real physical objects. They are not conjured from Nen. And Shalnark, how he uses them is with manipulation. He infuses them with his Nen, and then uses those needles to manipulate puppets, or manipulate actually real people. So Crollo seems like he can give powers back, he can give someone their Nen back, but Shalnark actually needs those physical objects to make his Nen work. And oh boy, the next scene, with Shalnark hanging up the phone, looking over, oh, Cortopi's just taking a long shit. Nope. Out walks Hisoka with Cortopi's head in his hand. God damn. Savage. Hisoka is savage. He's already on his killing spree, and Shalnark goes to attack him right away. You see that someone's, like, foot, I'm pretty sure what happened here is that is Hisoka's foot because of the bandages, because Shalnark wears, like, little sandals. But it looks like that he used the bungee gum on his newly repaired foot and kind of used it as a spring, because you see him just kind of disappear. He throws Cortopi's head at Shalnark, and Shalnark catches it, looks at it. Well, Shalnark, you just fucked up, because Hisoka's behind you and, like, just knocks him out. I mean, he just wrecked him. And if that wasn't enough, if that wasn't savage enough, the next thing you get to see is Shalnark all tied up, just hanging on a swing with crows surrounding him, just wrecked. That close-up of his face all bruised up and swollen. He's got blood just covering his chest and his stomach. I mean, he is done for. Right there, Hisoka taking out 2 members of the spider in like 3 pages. Done. And another final interesting point here, he says 10 more to go. Well, by my count, there's only 9, if you include Crollo. Because the spider consists of 13 members. You have the head and the 12 legs. Well, after Hisoka left, he got replaced by Kaluto, who is a current member. But we never saw who replaced Pakunoda and Uvo. So without those 2, they were down to 11. And now Hisoka has taken out 2, which leaves 9 left. So Hisoka believes that there is 1 more member if there's 10 more to go. So they've replaced Uvo or Pakunoda, but not both. I'm wondering if that will be an existing character we've already met. Maybe the Nen Exorcist joined up with them, because Hisoka probably would have seen that, I would think. Or some new character, someone brand new. So now that we are done going through the chapter, let's talk about why we all should have known Hisoka would live, okay? He is an important character to this series, and while he has not really had a main goal except to fight strong people, he was a main antagonist in the Hunter exam. He was part of Gon's character development and part of Gon Gon's training in Heaven's Arena. He also helped them out in Greed Island. He was extremely important in the Phantom Troop arc. So even though he does not, right now, as far as the Dark Continent, he does not play an important role, Togashi can insert him in places and give him an important role. He's an exciting side character. And now we're seeing he is going to be a big player in the Dark Continent. Now, if Chrollo died, yes, he is a cool character, and he has played an important role. He was important towards Kurapika's revenge, but if he died, he could have been replaced as the leader, even though Kurapika probably still has some hatred towards the Phantom Troop. Right now, his main focus is the Fourth Prince and getting those eyes back, and he pretty much had his confrontation with Chrollo. You know, even though he couldn't really make a move and kill Chrollo because Gon and Killua were in trouble, he had his chance. After he had made the deal, he could have gone after Chrollo eventually. And I believe that he has a resolve in him now, especially that he has seen how human the Phantom Troop has become. You know, they do care about something. They care about each other. And this makes it difficult for Kurapika to want to kill them now, because before, with his fight with Uvo, he didn't have that sort of information about the troop. He just thought that they were killers. So I believe that his direction has changed. I don't think that if the Phantom Troop wasn't going to the Dark Continent, I don't think Kurapika would still go after them. Once he had the eyes of the rest of his clan, he would probably be satisfied with that. But anyways, I've talked about that before. I don't want to reiterate too much. My point was that Hisoka was more important to this series than Chrollo, but now both of them are going to become very important to this series. Which brings me to my next point. Why is Hisoka after the spider? You know, he's always been after that good fight. If his purpose has been a good fight, he said he's learned his lesson and now he's not going to let his enemies choose when and where and who it is they're going to fight. Well, he's pretty much just attacking them at will, and he's not really getting a lot out of it. He's not getting that enjoyment of battle. He's just getting the enjoyment of murdering the spider. So what could be his motivation? What is driving him to do this? That I am not really sure about. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that. Final thought about the Dark Continent. What we think is going to happen. We finally have all the big players are now going to be in the Dark Continent. The only group that I know of off the top of my head that are extremely powerful that are not in the Dark Continent or aren't going there now would be the Zoldyck family. I'm not including Gon and Killua because they are not, compared to everyone else who has shown up, the Zodiac, Beyond and his specialists, Jing, Pariston, now we have the Phantom Troop and Hisoka, you have Hanzo and the crew that Kurapika hired, like all these extremely powerful characters going to the Dark Continent. So Gon and Killua, not really part of that group. I don't know it seems like chaos is just going to break out. Because if Kurapika sees the spider on the ship, you know, that's going to enrage him. Even though I just said he probably doesn't want to seek revenge against them, but if he spots them, if he comes across them, would he take some action? We're going to see a lot of parties collide here. And Hisoka just going through one by one trying to take out the spider on the ship. I don't think he's going to be discreet about that. So it's possible that the next chapter we're going to skip to a different party. I believe we've gotten I would love more. Go ahead, Togashi. Give me more Hisoka. But I believe that he's given us enough, and he'll probably skip to a different party. We haven't seen Jing and Pariston in a little bit. We were focused on Kurapika. We went to this fight in Heaven's Arena. So we're probably going to pop back over to Jing and Pariston or more of the Zodiac. So that's all I got for you guys right now. What an exciting chapter. We finally got what we've all been waiting for, the conclusion of the fight, and now just even more questions. So let me know in the comments below, why do you think Hisoka is after the spider? What do you think is going to happen in the Dark Continent now that the Phantom Troop and Hisoka are on their way there? How did you feel about the conclusion of this fight, and what do you think of the chapter as a whole? go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you all very soon. Bye.